Welcome to Straight Outta Savannah, where the magic happens. Our guest, LaJoy, is here. She is the Transformation to Expansion podcast host, and we're going to talk about who she is. She is the luminous host of Transformation to Expansion, an esoteric podcast spotlighting women who are walking the path of awakening and conscious creation. As a certified NLP coach, she guides women to retrain their mind, transform their emotional landscape, and shift into higher states of consciousness so they can embody a richer, more aligned life. You can connect with her on Instagram, on YouTube, and also on Spotify. And all of her details will be in the show notes once we are completed. So, LaJoy, welcome to the show. Come on in and share anything that you want to share, and then I have some questions for you.
Thanks. Thank you, Tammy. So my name is LaJoie, and I have been doing the Transformation to Expansion podcast for a couple of years now. But my real passion is really helping other women elevate their lives and really transform their lives. And the main way that I do that is really by empowering them to create the solutions that really fit them and themselves and help them create a system to really allow them to move from where they're at to where they want to be. And currently, I have a couple of different contracts that I'm working with right now. One of them is actually with the Multiverse School. In this program, I work with mostly people in tech, actually. So I do coach men in that field also. But I really love it because I'm actually meeting a lot of people in tech who are really tapped in spiritually also. So it's been a really cool opportunity to just connect with people and really coach people who identify as neurodivergent, but then also have that spiritual aspect to them. So I really love being in this space. I love working with people in tech because everybody's so unique, and it's so amazing to have and create that space where they can express themselves and really feel free to really tap into who they truly are and allow them to express that. So, yeah.
So, how did you get there? What made you decide that you wanted to be that type of coach?
Yes, actually, a friend of mine connected me to this group last year, and I started to get more connected with the group and the community there. And just I let the founder know that I had coached also. And surprisingly, the founder who leads like different groups into learning about how to integrate AI, they were actually super interested in the spiritual aspects also. Because there's some spiritual aspects of AI that actually many people don't really talk about right now. But it's interesting. So they're definitely like in the forefront of that. And when we connected, I was like, oh, you do tarot, you like astrology. This is interesting because I really haven't met a lot of tech people who are interested in those
Right.
things. So it was a really cool connection to just talk with her. And so now I'm like more involved with the community. We're almost at 18 weeks almost of the program that I'm doing with the community there. And and I love it. It's amazing. It's a really cool opportunity.
That is so powerful. So, now what was your own background in spirituality coming into doing this work?
Yeah, so for me, I've always prayed. So since I was little, I actually had like nightmares when I was a kid, and so my dad taught me if you just pray, the nightmares will go away, and eventually they did. And so I prayed every day since I was a kid. My family didn't necessarily. We went to church for the hot second for 2 years, where we consistently went. So maybe that's a little bit more than a hot second. Just having that like belief in God was really important to me. So I've always had that, like even going through school and even majoring in science where everybody else was maybe actually I think atheism was really popular at the time, and I was like,
Yes.
I don't understand how y'all believe in nothing. Like to me, it doesn't make any
Right.
sense. In my brain, I'm like, if I had the choice, I'm gonna believe that there's like a heaven and there's an afterlife.
Something. Like, how did they think they got here? Yeah. How did they think they got here? Oh, the Big Bang?
That part.
Yeah.
I'll be a little biased, y'all, but everybody has a belief. But and it's interesting too because later, when I was like 6 years later after college, I had met somebody who did identify as atheist, and they went through this spiritual practice. It was really interesting because his girlfriend, she saw her guides, her angels during the practice. It was like a kundalini, not kundalini, what was it called? Breathwork. It was a breathwork session. And so yeah, his girlfriend saw her guides and stuff, and then he's like, yeah, I saw nothing, and it was cold, and I was like,
Okay.
that's what you believe in. I was like, I guess that's what you saw. But I was like, I don't know
Well, you
about
create
that.
your reality, right? You create
I really believe that. So anyway, so it's kind of funny. But yeah, then in 2017, I had a big awakening. Yeah, there were like visions that I had as a kid and in high school that I guess I was in, even in college, that I was aware or became aware that they were actually like premonitions for the future, which was really interesting. Yeah, it wasn't like a whole moment, but like it wasn't like in the movies, y'all. It was not like in the movies. Yeah, like, it's just not. It was just like a bunch of epiphanies, and I got a little bit into manifestation and astrology. That's when I started astrology reading and reading people's charts.
which is a whole language of its own.
Yeah, it really is.
So I was looking at my natal chart and wow, you wonder, you're like, are they spies? Let me turn this phone down.
They already know.
I know, because people said, I don't want to get on social media. They're going to get all your information. I said, honey, they got your information. It's okay.
Got it.
I think how many times a year do you get a paper that says your data, they had a data breach and your data was in the data breach? They know it. It's already done. We're not asked and answered. No.
Yeah.
So this podcast, Transformation to Expansion, you highlight women awakening to their own power.
Yeah.
What was the moment in your journey when you realized you were shifting from transformation into true expansion?
Yeah, so I don't know about you, but this, at least for me, that journey comes in waves. And so the first time I would say was 2017, and then I had another time in 2019, which was a pretty big one. And this is actually going to be, this is a little sneak peek of the book that's going to be released next year. So I had like September 2019, I think August, I lost my car. My car broke down. So I was like, okay, I don't have my car anymore. But actually ended up saving me a lot of money because I was spending at least $1,000 a month, whether it was with fixes or gas. I was spending a lot on my car. And so it allowed me to save up money. And then I actually had the opportunity to go abroad that September. And while I was abroad, I had a tarot reading done by a woman I met online. And she told me like, oh, this is going to be a representative of the next 15 years of your life. And I was like, I'm abroad. I'm in another country. I was like, there's no how. I was like, how is this going to be possible? And in 2019, remote jobs were like, they were there, but there wasn't a lot. It was like sprinkled.
Or they wanted to do the hybrid thing. Work 2 days in the office.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
It wasn't too popular. So I was like,
that was right before COVID,
it was
right?
very much the norm.
Right before COVID.
This is right before COVID. So it was still the norm to drive to work. And actually, let me take that back. So even in my previous job before this vacation time or whatever, the time I went abroad, I did have some opportunities to work remote. But again, it wasn't a regular thing. It was the exception. It wasn't the rule. And so I was just like, there's no way, that sounds impossible. But I was like, whatever, cool. This will be nice if it happens. And then I came back to the States. I worked for about 6 months, 5 months. I got my life together because my previous owner of the house I was living in, he was like an alcoholic. And so I was like, this is not safe. So I left. And then when I came back to the States, I found a job that ended up paying way more than what I expected. And then I was able to carpool with a coworker because I didn't have my car anymore. And I was just able to save up money. I connected with women who were all about their finances. And I just started to create this money vortex. It was like, I went to these events that I met my friends, say, hey, go to this event. It's interesting. It's going to be about women and talking about finances. Again, y'all, for context, it's not a complex place thing. Even before 2020, it wasn't like now where it's like everybody wants to be like a woman money.
Yeah.
There's so many people to find online now.
Yes.
But
it's almost ridiculous.
Yeah. It's like to the point where it's like annoying. You're like, I don't know if you're actually qualified to talk about this.
Exactly. Do you actually have money? I did it. However,
Apart.
Is you homeless because can you share?
That part. What we doing?
Yeah.
Anyways, so it was cool because it was the first time I became aware of other women who wanted like beyond wealthy, to be honest, even more than I think I currently desire. But one of them was like, yeah, we're going to own several tech companies. She had her plan out of how she was going to be a multimillionaire.
Wow.
She was like, I have my husband. We have a money date every Friday. Every week, they're having those dates, talking about their finances, talking about their companies. Because she was like, I want to be filthy rich. She's like, I want to have the private helicopter. And this is somebody, she was, I think, 28, 29 at the time. And she had climbed the corporate ladder. And so I think she was looking for something a little bit more. Then there was another woman who, her family was in business. And so she learned from family how to make money through a business. And she made her first 100K, I want to say before she was 25 from her business. So that was maybe younger, but I'm not really sure. But again, this might be something some people might be listening and be like, oh yeah, it's so commonplace now. But I'm like, no, you don't understand. In 2019, even though it was only 7 years ago, but in 2019, it was just like this stuff it wasn't popularized yet. So I saved up my money and I stopped going out.
We had a whole transformation,
Yeah.
that pandemic. It changed the
Yeah,
world.
exactly. It really did. In a lot of positive ways, actually, I think. Yeah, so anyway, so there are a couple of key steps that I'll actually share with the audience now. Because none of this was manifested. There was no scripting involved. Nothing. None of the ways I manifested my reality was with those typical exercises that people do. New moon, full moon ceremonies. Although I've done them before, but that stuff actually didn't manifest what I really truly wanted or desired. But the things that did was actually in micro actions. And this is something that I specialize in. So the way I was able to really transform and do literally a 180 on my life was by having a solid morning routine. Whether some mornings it was 5 minutes, some mornings it was 15 minutes, but just having that consistently every day really changed that. Getting rid of I stopped drinking. I stopped going out with friends. I just saved money. And it was hard too because all my friends, they partied a lot. Sometimes I would go out with them and meet them, but at some point I was like, okay, this is just not aligned anymore. So that was a whole process. I processed my emotions consistently every day. And again, it's not a 30-minute or 1 hour thing. It was like these small 5-minute spurts. It wasn't a big deal. And then the other thing that I did that I acknowledged that I did too much of was watch TV. So I stopped watching TV. I limited myself on that. So that's what I'm saying. I think everybody has different vices, but find something that you just spend too much time doing that's not really leading to that future version of yourself and reduce. You don't have to stop it, but just reduce the amount that you do.
It's all about really is boundaries and everything. Certain things I'm going to watch, certain things I'm not going to watch. But I did see The Devil Wears Prada too. It was great. But so as a certified NLP coach, you help women retrain their minds and reshape their emotional landscape. So how does mind training become a spiritual practice rather than just a mindset tool?
Yeah, so for me, it's about that consistency. That's one of the things that I've actually learned from monks was that it's not about sitting for an hour and doing a meditating for a whole hour. It's really about the consistency, right? One monk even told me it's better to just do 5-minute meditations throughout the day than to sit for one whole hour in the morning.
I agree completely because I cannot do that.
Yeah.
I'm not that
But you
person.
can, and that's okay, right?
Did you used to feel bad because you couldn't do it at first? Because everybody was pushing? Oh, you got to meditate for an hour. Oh, you got to sit down and meditate. And I was like, you people are crazy. I'm not doing that. No,
Yeah.
I cannot. My brain doesn't shut down. So no, cannot.
Yeah. So my meditation journey, it was a long journey. It started 10, 15 years ago. It did take me about 6 years to really get. Anyway, the most important thing is that there's many ways to meditate, right? So one of the things that I did that really flipped my life to a 180, right? Going from I was living in Seattle at the time in a house with 8 other housemates, and then moving to a beautiful studio in Tulum, Mexico, having access to fresh fruits and vegetables every
Oh,
day,
wonderful.
going to the beach whenever I wanted, interacting with high vibrational people. Going from that space, one of the key things is acknowledging that there's different ways to meditate, right? So in the morning, if there was a morning where I didn't feel like sitting down even for 5 minutes, I would still try to do 1 minute at least. And this is a technique that I tell people to use if they really want to get better at meditating. But then the other thing is just acknowledging different types of meditation. Yoga is a type of meditation. So the times where I didn't feel like sitting, I'll move and I'll just be really conscious about where my body and how my body's moving, right? Yeah, so I did that. And then I did scripting in the mornings. I did them in the mornings because at first I tried them at night. And then there would be some nights that I was too tired or I would forget and it just didn't work out. So I was like, let me do it in the morning. So I did them in the morning, first thing in the morning. And then it was crazy because within 5 months, I saved up a bunch of money because I wasn't going out. And then my friend had her 30th birthday in Puerto Rico. And so I went, and then COVID happened when we were in Puerto Rico. And so, yeah, that's when my travels actually started, which was really crazy because you really got to see I don't know, you got to see a lot of stuff that people didn't really see in the media when it came to the rest of the world, especially some of my friends. When I was in Puerto Rico, they're like, oh, there's martial law. Nobody's called it martial law. But people were saying, oh, yeah, we heard Puerto Rico
Curfew,
shut down. And I was like, no.
curfew.
Yeah, no, that's the thing, right? People in the States were saying curfew. In Puerto Rico, they said if you had a certain license plate, you could not be driving on these certain days of the week. You couldn't go to the grocery store. You couldn't go anywhere else. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And again, because I was there, when you're in those other countries during these, you get to know the truth of what's happening. Whereas people who are just watching it through the media, they don't understand what's really happening. You couldn't go to the stores on certain days of the week. You couldn't walk around. They didn't want people outside. It was martial law, right? It was definitely like you couldn't, it was really restricted. So it was really interesting being there at the time. And it was an island too. So there's certain things. It was crazy. We were washing like anything we bought from the store. We would wash the boxes with soap and stuff. Like, that was crazy. The first COVID. Yeah, girl. We bought a bag of chips. I washed it with some. It was crazy. Like, we were like, we are not getting this. Because this was before the masks. But there's no protocol or anything. People, we still wore the masks, right? But it wasn't, I think, until a month and a half into COVID where people were like, you need to, you absolutely need to wear a mask.
I told you I was in Arizona and they told us that we couldn't wear masks because we would scare the patients.
Oh, yeah. So you were in the South. Okay, yeah,
Arizona.
it's different, which is interesting. So
Arizona's
it's like,
Wild West.
yeah, it makes, yeah. But it's still that like,
You know, we
the
told
more
them,
right leaning.
yeah,
Very
they flip
so-
blue, but I was like,
Yeah.
I said, I don't care about them patients. I'm like, getting that thing. The patients need to be wearing them too. And they was like, oh, if you put them on, it was a detox and alcohol rehab place. If you put on a mask, you scare. I was like, they still gonna come. They ain't got no. This is their home for these 5 days. As you go forward, where do you see yourself going with your business and areas of your life? What do you see?
I just see myself helping more people, especially women. Like actually had one client recently. She actually landed her ideal like first 6-figure, not first, I don't think it's her first one, but anyway, she had lost her job because of this huge job recession that we're in, which is insane right now. And then she landed her 6-figure job and she reached out. She's like, thank you. Like, explain how the coaching that I did helped her with her landing that job. And for me, I just want to help people gain more success and really live their best life. I think we're all here to live our best lives. I think everybody should have that opportunity. And so I just want to continue to share that knowledge and really spread the love and really empower more women to get to that space so they're happy and living their best life.
Priceless. And I'm just so excited to see someone so young stepping into these spaces because y'all need to be here. And I know a lot of young people, they have issues with the older people because they don't think they should be in these spaces. But I said, no, we need the young people in the spaces. We're not going to be here forever.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I have one question that I ask all of my guests. We're going to land this plane. The question is, if there was anything in the world that you could change, what would that be and why?
Say that I can change?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, that cut out a little bit. One thing that I could change. Many ideas. I think the one thing that I would change is to allow people to heal through love instead of through suffering. The healing process right now can be very triggering, exhausting. And if I could change one thing, it would be just to make that process just easier, enjoyable, and just filled with more love. Because I think there's a lot of people who, I don't know, the whole healing journey in some capacities can be crippling and stifling for some people. And so I really just want the people who really need to heal and transform. I really wish that they could heal through just love and just ease, just one more ease in that process. Like, it's still, even though we have all this information out there and there's all these different ways of healing, it still seems to be not for everybody. But for many right now, there still seems to be like a struggle with that process.
Yeah.
And I would really love to make it just effortless.
It feels like a disconnect to me. And I think that's a part of this work that we're doing is helping people to connect because they're disconnected. There are so many people that are disconnected from their souls. And that's what I have seen. Share any last words, and where is the best place for people to connect with you?
Yeah. My last words are keep going. Yeah, please know that God is always here for you and is always answering your prayers. Even in those moments where you have doubt or you're not really seeing the grand plan, just know that God is always working for you and with you, and know that everything is really truly being done for you and not to you. Please remember that. And remember, if you need love, you just need to ask for it and you'll
Yes.
receive it.
I love that.
So your audience can find me on the Multiverse School. Those for my tech people. If there's any tech people out there, look up the Multiverse School and you'll find me on there. I meet with them every Thursday. And then I'll also click a link below for my website if you guys want to get in connection with me also.
Yes, all of those details will be in the show notes. You can click her website. I think you also have a lead magnet on there too. I think you have a lead magnet on there as well.
Yeah.
So it'll be all
I
of
have
those.
a bunch, y'all. I have a wellness library. It's a lot though, but yeah, it has over 100 resources on wellness and healing. So I'll make sure to give you the link. So it's a lot. That's what I'm saying. It's a lot, but I was just like, I just want to give. I was just in this moment, this energy of giving. So I was like, let me just do this. So I made the wellness library, and it has coloring books too. If you want to do some wellness coloring, I'll give you the link and I'll put it in. We'll put it in the description also.
So we are going to land this plane. I am super excited that LaJoie has joined us today, and I hope this conversation was as good for you guys as it was for us, because this has been amazing. So make sure that you like, share, and subscribe wherever you are listening or watching this, and go ahead and make sure that you do those downloads. Everything is in the show notes. So absolutely enjoy the rest of your day, night, evening, or weekend, and make sure that if you want to connect with LaJoie, her details are in the show notes. You can click on her website and contact her. You're also on Instagram as well, too. Instagram?
No, I deleted my Instagram.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
proud.
So
Yeah, it was a whole thing, but it was recent. But no, I'll give you the links.
okay. All right. So enjoy. We're done.
Peace, y'all.